The inheritance and the departure. In a small village nestled in the rolling hills of ancient Judea, there lived a man with 2 sons. The father was a man of great wisdom and kindness, known throughout the region for his generosity and fair dealings. His older son was diligent and hardworking, always by his father's side, learning the ways of the land and the responsibilities of managing the family's estate. The younger son, however, was restless and impulsive, yearning for adventure and the allure of the world beyond the familiar fields and vineyards. One day, the younger son approached his father with a bold and audacious request. "Father," he said, "I wish to have a share of the estate that will belong to me." The father, though saddened by his son's desire to leave, did not protest. He knew that his son was driven by a longing for independence and the excitement of new experiences. So, in accordance with the law and custom, the father divided his property between his 2 sons. The younger son, eager to embark on his new life, sold his portion of the estate and gathered his wealth. With a heart full of dreams and a spirit untamed, he set off for a distant land, leaving behind the only home he had ever known. His father watched him go, his heart heavy with a mix of hope and sorrow, praying silently for his son's safety and well-being. The dissipation and the descent. In the faraway land, the prodigal son was initially overwhelmed by the sights, sounds, and experiences that awaited him. He indulged in the pleasures of the world, living lavishly and without restraint. He made new friends, dined in the finest inns, and enjoyed the company of those who flocked to him because of his wealth and generosity. For a time, he felt as if he had found the life he had always dreamed of. However, as the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, the young man's fortune began to dwindle. His reckless spending and lack of foresight soon led to financial ruin. His so-called friends, who had been drawn to his wealth, began to disappear, leaving him alone and destitute. The lavish feasts and extravagant parties were replaced by hunger and desperation. In his despair, the young man sought work, but the land was plagued by famine and opportunities were scarce. He found himself forced to take the only job available, tending to pigs. It was a humiliating and degrading existence, far removed from the life of luxury he had once known. As he sat among the swine, longing to fill his stomach with the pods that the pigs were eating, he came to his senses. The realization and the return. The young man, now broken and humbled, began to reflect on his life and the choices he had made. He thought of his father, who had always been a man of compassion and wisdom. He remembered the love and care he had received at home, and he realized that even the servants in his father's house lived better than he did now. With a heavy heart and a newfound clarity, he made a decision. He would return to his father, not as a son, but as a servant. "I will arise and go to my father," he said to himself, "and I will say to him, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and before you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Treat me as one of your hired servants.'" With this resolve, he began the long journey back to his homeland, his heart filled with a mixture of hope and fear. The reunion and the forgiveness. As the prodigal son approached his father's house, he was filled with trepidation. He had no idea how his father would react to his return. Would he be welcomed, or would he be rejected and cast out? As he neared the familiar gates, he saw his father in the distance, scanning the horizon. The moment the father saw his son, his face lit up with joy and relief. He ran to him, embracing him tightly and covering him with kisses. The son, overwhelmed by his father's love and forgiveness, began to stammer out his prepared speech. "Father, I have sinned against heaven and before you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son." But the father would hear none of it. He called out to his servants, "Bring the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet, and bring the fattened calf and kill it. Let us celebrate, for this my son was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found." The older son, who had been working in the fields, heard the commotion and was told that his brother had returned. He was filled with anger and resentment, unable to understand why his father would welcome back the son who had squandered his inheritance. When he confronted his father, the father gently explained, "Son, you're always with me and all that is mine is yours. But we had to celebrate and rejoice, because this your brother was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found." The celebration and the reflection The celebration that followed was unlike any the village had ever seen. The air was filled with music, laughter, and the aroma of the feast. The prodigal son, now clad in the finest robe, sat at the place of honor, surrounded by his family and friends. The love and joy that filled the room were palpable, a testament to the power of forgiveness and the enduring bond of family. As the night wore on, the prodigal son reflected on his journey. He realized that his experiences, both the highs and the lows, had taught him valuable lessons about life, love, and the true meaning of wealth. He understood that the greatest treasure he had ever possessed was the love of his Father, a love that had never wavered, even in his darkest moments. The story of the prodigal son is a timeless tale of redemption, forgiveness, and the boundless love of a father. It reminds us that no matter how far we stray, the arms of our loved ones are always open, ready to welcome us back with grace and compassion. It is a story that continues to inspire and resonate with people of all ages, offering hope and encouragement in times of need.